Hey there riders, MotoJourno Chris here today, and I am just dropping off Yamaha's MT-09 SP back to Yamaha Australia here in Sydney for bike review. They're going to have a full review and video up on this bike, but I wanted to have a quick chat about it. I've only spent a couple of hours on it, and it's an upgraded model over the regular MT-09, which is a bike that in the current iteration I really love. Back in the day when they first brought it out, it was, it was a beautiful machine, but the forks particularly and the throttle response were problematic, and since then they've just absolutely refined it and it's turned into an amazing motorcycle. So what does the SP offer you over the standard model? You're getting up-spec suspension. It's got an Öhlins rear shock, which is pretty cool, so you're getting proper adjustability there. It's got these nice gold forks on the front, but they're not Öhlins, they are KYB, and it's not a super premium, there's not a huge premium over the top of the regular MT-09 on this model. It's just a mid-sized premium. And jumping on this bike today, I was amazed at how light it feels. It's very motardy, super fast turn in. It actually takes a bit of getting used to, coming from other bikes, particularly kind of the retro bikes I've been riding recently. It feels like a tiny little, just a much smaller bike. It reminds me a lot of the KTM RC390 as far as handling. Like, it's just unbelievable how light and how quick a turner it is, and how little input it takes on the front end to get into the turns, almost to the point of if you're jumping off a bike which is quite a slow turner, it's probably going to kind of catch you unawares when you first jump on this. As far as the ergonomics, it's nice and upright. It's got quite a comfortable seat. It's really slim down the front and it widens right out at the back, so you can move back a bit and get a bit more room. I found it really easy to lock into the bike itself. The finish quality is beautiful, as you'd expect from Yamaha. It's got these really cool rims on it. It's an awesome package. But I guess the big question for most people is going to be whether to buy this over the regular MT-09. And for me, riding today, when you're on the really smooth riding roads and you're in the really good conditions, this thing is beautiful. And obviously with adjustable suspension, you've got plenty of room to kind of fiddle around with that. However, the thing to keep in mind is that the standard one is it's a nice, well-sorted machine for Australia's really rough conditions, which is a real consideration for me because a lot of our roads are just terrible. Obviously this thing at the track is going to be an absolute hoon machine compared to the standard MT-09, but I have to say, at a cheaper price and for a nice all-round machine, the standard MT-09 is a really good offering, so it's quite a hard choice between these two. Obviously you're getting a very different look. You're getting the SP colour scheme, which is a really nice colour scheme. It really stands out and it's very well done on this bike, even though there's minimal paint really and bodywork. But at the same time, the standard one has the quick shifter, a standard fitment, which is a really good addition. I don't remember on the standard one having the problem, but on this one at low RPM, that quick shifter is really rough, whereas once you get into like sporty riding, it's really good, and it's only an up quick shifter, not that that's really a complaint. Now overall, the brakes are absolutely awesome. It's got a really nice strong rear brake. It's a really awesome bike to look at if you ask me. Obviously it's very futuristic, particularly with that front assembly, which some people don't like. Personally, I think it's really cool. The triple cylinder engine is also a real gem, although it's still super aggressive in the MT-09 SP, and I have to say I mainly kept this bike in B mode as a result, simply to soften down that throttle to engine connection and smoothen out that power delivery. There's 3 ride modes with different power delivery, and you do get traction control as standard, which is great, and this being such an aggressive machine is something that will no doubt come in handy in really slippery conditions. ABS is of course also standard. The MT-09 triple cylinder is also a standout, offering a characterful departure from the regular choices, which normally consists of twins and fours, while also including Yamaha's cross-plane design, which assists with that low to mid-range performance, as well as with that throttle response, which, as I've mentioned, can be a bit on the aggressive side. There's certainly more than enough performance for the road, with huge amounts to spare, and the MT-09's reputation as a wheelie monster is very well earned. The transformer headlight will also be a bit of a polarizing design element, which is something the MT-09 has had throughout its different styles, and the dual headlights are now LED units that are pretty reminiscent of the Big Bang R1. And naturally these features are shared between the SP and the standard MT-09. One thing to keep in mind is that the exhaust is a single piece item, and while the bike does have a lovely triple burble to it and a nice purr at idle as well, that does mean you need a full system if you want to change the exhaust. Other features that are a standout to me are the top quality banana swing arm, polished headers, angular bodywork, and impressive level of technology for the price. And as someone who loves triple cylinders with offerings from Triumph, MV Agusta and Yamaha, it's just impossible to argue with the value and performance on offer with the MT-09, offering the best value modern entry into 3-cylinder motorcycles, especially if you like futuristic naked bikes. Now to get down to the details, Australian pricing of the MT-09 comes in at $12,299 plus all the on-road costs as you'd expect, while the MT-09 SP comes in at a $1,200 premium for $13,499, again plus on-road costs. And in most markets the MT-09 has always represented amazing value, and that has not changed since the 2013 release. We've seen the standard pricing of the MT-09 creep up from that original start point of $10,999, and I mean that's been over a number of years. They first came out in 2013, and that does coincide with a pretty drastic improvement over the original model across the fueling, the suspension, arguably styling as well, and of course the standard edition of a quick shifter, which is realistically about half the price increase since 2013. So all in all, it's $1,200, which isn't a massive premium, but you are getting some pretty tasty additions on that SP model. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who would be out there replacing the shock on this bike if they really want to sporty up this particular model. So for some people that's going to be a great investment, but for others I think the standard MT-09 is still going to be the pick of the crop because it's essentially almost unbeatable value in this market segment. Don't forget to leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this particular bike. Would you go the SP or would you go the standard edition and save a bit of money and maybe spend that on some mods yourself? And don't forget to sub, and I'll be back soon. Stay safe out there.